gonna trouble the water. In the water, in the water, children. God's gonna trouble the water.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. No mother, no father, and the only child I had just drowned. It's a paradise transformed into a daily war. 202 years of freedom, free to rob, terrorize, kill, defamiliarize, defamily each other, ourselves, our only hope of escape. Escape dying in the struggle for life. It's the only successful slave revolt that has never ended. The revolution continues in Haiti. Haiti, oui. Haiti, chérie. Haiti.
Hi everyone, my name is Cory Shea and I'm here with Mia Cross. And we're filling in for Erin Becker for Creative Process. Hi, Mia.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Thanks for being here tonight.
No problem.
Mia is one of our student members at the Cambridge Art Association, so we're very happy to have her. And she's also one of the artists exhibiting in 30 Below, which was juried by Mary Tinty and will be on display at the Catherine Schultz Gallery till January 29th.
Yes.
It's an awesome. What's your piece again in the show?
It's a beautiful show. It's called Oleg's Flowers.
Oh,
it's
cool.
an oil painting on board and canvas. And the opening was just so wonderful.
So much fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, the show was great.
Yeah, it was great. Artscope was our media sponsor, and we had Short Path Distillery, which was our reception sponsor. So a very fun time. So you'll have to come check out the show before it closes on the 29th. So Mia, let's talk about you.
Okay.
All right, so let's hear the lowdown. Give me your background information.
Okay.
Where did you go to school?
The lowdown.
Yeah.
So I went to Boston University,
Mm-hmm.
the College of Fine Arts. I graduated in May 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 2 years out of school right now, trying to figure
You're
out
in the
arts
real world.
Yeah, the
Welcome.
real world.
It's nice and scary.
Everyone was talking about it, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, guys, but it's true. It's real.
How do you feel your work is going, like navigating in this kind of, after you've escaped the school bubble? Like, where do you see your work going? Has it changed much since when you were an undergrad?
Well, I feel I spent about a year trying to just, pay rent, live in the city, and then I kind of discovered it's a little impossible for an emerging artist to be living in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved back home, and I did a residency, moved back home, so I've kind of been picking up my studio practice again since then.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about your artist in residency? Because I feel like a lot of people don't really know the details of what goes into that.
Yeah, so there are like a whole range of different types of residencies. This one was pretty relaxed, and it was in Averill Park, New York. And basically you just go for a span of time. Mine was 3 to 4 weeks. And I was in this giant mill, completely empty.
That's so cool. That's such an artist, perfect vibe of where you want to create stuff.
I was just singing, having a great time. And it was just a great way to get back into my studio practice and learn from some other artists and just sort of isolate yourself. And
yeah. So where did you hear about the residency? Was somebody tell you about it, or something you sought out?
This was just the Google,
Good old Google.
I found that it's my best friend,
Yeah.
Google. just searching like artist opportunities. I think maybe I found it through Res Arts or something like that.
Oh, cool. I haven't heard of that website. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
So do you find that like a lot of your opportunities online, like by Googling, would you say is like kind of your number one resource?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my graduating class was pretty small, so I'm connected with some of them, but I find that mostly it's like meeting new people and like kind of finding my own way. So
Yeah, I can totally understand how once, like as you mentioned, once you leave the art school bubble, it's you really are seeking your own adventures when you're an artist, which sometimes can be difficult, but it's well worth all the effort and work that goes into it.
It's definitely fun. It's rewarding.
Yeah. So how did you, I know that you work an awesome day job. If you want to tell our viewers what you do.
Okay, viewers. I work at the Janet Eckelman studio, so I'm her model making assistant. I'm supposed to give you guys a shout out right now. Okay, so basically I just make the smaller models of her big work. If anyone's familiar, there was recently a piece up in the Greenway. The huge
piece?
Yeah, that little one. So it's really cool. I mean, before that I was working retail, and I mean just getting more involved in the art scene, kind of like learning, even like seeing a working artist do a thing is valuable.
It must be really interesting, especially with those big installations and having it go from such a teeny tiny model into like the real deal.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Did you work on the Greenway project at all,
or is it like a model for that one?
So what does that like entail?
So basically, you're taking all of the knots and everything that goes into making that big net and shrinking it down. So
that's really cool. Fine motor skills that Mia has.
Carpal tunnel skills. No, but it's good, and my job has kind of evolved from there into like more creative things. So yeah, it's been valuable.
That's really cool. And I saw from your website that you had a dual major in painting as well as sculpture. So do you feel like your sculpture background is really coming into play with what you're doing?
Definitely. I don't know if I would have been able to get that job if I hadn't had sculpture on my resume. Just like seeing that you're able to use both sides of your brain is good. Usually they hire like mass art textile people. Yeah. So I think like choosing to double major was a good choice.
Yeah. So what was like your senior thesis like then? Was it like a mix of sculpture as well as painting?
Yes, it was.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I feel like I took up a lot of space in that senior show. I just put like
so you gotta do. You gotta throw yourself in there.
Yeah. So I like tried to balance myself between painting and sculpture. I worked mostly in figurative work, and I found like I decided early on that I couldn't just do painting. Like there's so much you can express with sculpture that I thought I needed to do. So I just pursued it, and right now I'm focusing more on painting, but it's always good to have the option.
From just knowing you through the CAA, I've just seen your painting stuff, which I think is amazing, and your collage stuff. Mia is an amazing artist all around, so that's why she's with us.
Thank you.
Well, let's dive in to see some of your work, shall we?
Shall we? Yes.
Okay, ooh, look, there we go.
Oh,
so this is what's showing now.
Nice. So, yeah, I just wanted to lay out sort of my progression. So, basically, I'll start right from the beginning. So, in high school, I was pretty into sports, and like by the end of sophomore year, I decided that art was more of what I wanted to pursue. So I dropped the sports, headed to the art room, also the TV room, and so
picture of our
so yeah, I applied. No, I did some gold key things. My art teacher in high school. It was this like competition for high school students. You submit work, and then if they like your work, you're awarded gold keys.
That's so cool.
So yeah, so I was really surprised. I won like a bunch, and it was like.
Well, I'm not surprised. Your work is like amazing. This is in 2011. Like this is top-notch artwork here.
Thanks. So that was kind of encouraging, and when I decided like maybe this is something I can pursue in college, because before that it wasn't really something I considered. I thought maybe communications or something. So this was like one of my first like live nude studies.
Cool. So this was at BU this piece?
Yeah, at BU. Yep.
Nice.
So I only applied to a couple of art schools, BU being one of them, did a portfolio review. I don't think my portfolio was that strong, but they took a chance on me, and I'm really glad they did.
That's
so
great.
I learned so much in school, and since then.
Cool. Oops. Should we go to the next slide here? There we go.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, these are beautiful.
Thank you. So,
this is why, just saying, like, I can tell right off the bat, like, I feel like you're such a good painter of figures because you have your 3D, like, thinking cap on, you know, and you can see, like, the curves and you can create that with shadows. And it's like, painters I feel like, really can branch off and to be so successful in other medias. Like, you think of a painter / photographer, it's like, you know, they have like the sickest like compositions, and it's like this, you can totally see where your 3D eye comes in with your drawing work here.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, so especially BU, it's more of like a conservatory sort of schooling, as opposed to maybe mass art. It's more of like, you know, kind of free, jump in.
They're just like, go be you.
Yeah, go be you, which can be valuable for some people, but for me, like, having the focus on drawing and the figure for 2 years was really valuable.
Yeah, definitely tools you can carry for like the rest of your life too when you're making work.
So for me, it was definitely the right school. So this is my first big painting. It's 5 feet by 7 feet.
Oh my god, I love that.
I was looking at, you know, references. So, I think is it cut off? Well, it's called Ophelia. And my roommate actually took a picture of me. I had to get in the bathtub. Like, could you mind taking a little picture of me?
I love that. That's what roommates are for in like art school. It's like they're secretly the prop masters to your life.
Yes. So, yeah, it was my first, like, big self-portrait. It was great to work that large, and then I kind of found that I love it, and you know, that causes some joy, but also some issues. Oh, you love to work big.
It's like the storage and the fact that you have to cover the canvas with all that glorious, expensive paint.
Exactly.
Now I have a question for you. Do you find that your subject matter a lot? Like, do you do a lot of self-portraits, or is it just handy because you can be your own model?
Exactly. It's both. Like, in the beginning, they just had us doing so many self-portraits, but then it sort of becomes like, who's going to sit for me? Who can I not bother?
I totally used to torture all of my college roommates, and I like made them jump off cliffs. And
yes, exactly.
Literally. Sorry, Erica.
Yeah.
But so you gotta do it. You need that creative edge, and it's nice, like, working in a team of people almost with that aspect of it.
Yeah, so I've been into painting friends and family more now, because kind of reaches a point of like, okay, maybe this is starting to become a little bit of vanity. I mean, it's not that for me, but you're just your own convenient model. But
for sure. Yeah, let's see some more of your work.
So this is when I was like, okay, maybe I don't have to portray a person. I was really looking into the theme of like the circus, these ideas of mystery, and I was working with like cutouts and stencils.
That looks awesome.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thanks.
And this is 28 by 22. Oh, look at that. You put the size up there.
Yeah.
You're so organized. I love it. All right, let's see some of your 3D stuff.
All right.
Cool. Now, what's this all about? Lay it on me.
Okay, so I made this my junior year. Kind of play on words there. A lure.
I like it.
Okay. So I started working more with textiles. I was taught early on how to sew, and I loved how like malleable fabric was. And I mean, you can make anything with it. So created this little bunny, and then
how big is that bunny?
Like a child-sized toy, maybe.
Cool.
And then my brother's wife found a little mannequin hand she brought home for me.
Convenient.
So I wanted to create this dialogue of like, should this little rabbit take the leap? What does that mean? Should we say that sort of thing?
That's very cool. And I like the mix of the textile patterns in there too.
Thank you.
I feel like you're very good at incorporating lots of color in your work. Do you feel like that really drives your work a lot? Like your color palettes, or?
Yeah, it's like one of the most important things to me. One of my professors, Richard Brazeless, he taught a color class, and I learned so much about, like, you wouldn't even think about how colors interact and how they can change just being next to other colors, and that's always what draws me into a piece is,
Yeah. And that makes so much sense with your work. It really offers a sense of color and space. All right, now let's dive more into your sculptural work. Now this is so cool. What is this all about? I love it.
Thanks. Susanna never could decide. So I went on Craigslist and I bought a mannequin. And it was wonderful because I've based so many of my sculptures on this mannequin whom I've named Susanna.
Why Susanna?
I don't even know.
She just looked like one?
She just was.
She was
felt
just
like
Susanna.
Even though she had a Rolling Stones tattoo on her neck, I knew she was a Susanna.
I love that.
So I basically would use her form to like cast a body on top of her. So I'd cast her in wire and paper towels, like create this mold, then cut the mold, take the mannequin out, and put it back together.
Wow.
So this is made of paper towels, wire.
That's crazy. That must be super delicate then, is it?
It is. It's and I put like a little glue base on it, so it's holding up the test of time, but it is a hard material to work in.
I love the shadows that it casts on the wall.
Yeah, I tried.
It's part of it. Seems.
Some people find it eerie. My parents, but for me, it's more of like this woman who is like stuck in indecision.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see the. I mean, I understand the.
I get that sometimes too with my artwork. People are like, "You seem so happy. My artwork's kind of creepy."
Right.
And it's like sometimes it just comes out, and you're like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
I have some feelings, I guess."
Exactly.
Here they are.
Yeah, but in that.
That's really cool though.
Thank you. I was trying. I think with that series, especially trying to like walk this line of like cute, but also like a little bit of what's going on?
Yeah.
Like starting a dialogue there.
What's like the fiber like around her, like is that her hair
That's
or
her
is it
hair. I got this big like bunching of string at the recycle center.
Nice.
I actually like combed her hair with a fork for like 2 days.
That's dedication.
A lot of
That's
love.
what it takes to be an artist. You have
Combing
to
hair with
do
a
that.
fork. I felt like the Little Mermaid. So
I love it.
but that was definitely a fun piece.
Yeah.
And taught me a lot. And then her hands are my hands cast in plaster.
So how long did it take you to make this particular piece?
This?
Like overall, would you say, with all like the fork combing, hands, and casting? Must
I
have
think
taken
it
a
took
while.
more than a semester to make
Wow.
little Susanna here.
Now, if you're working on this, would this be like your project for the semester, or for your other classes or other things you had to do?
This
like
would
balance it.
They definitely want you. I mean, my professors wanted me to make as much as possible, and the rule of thumb is pretty much you're supposed to be here all the time.
Right.
If you're not here, what are you doing?
Yep, you should be there at 2 a.m.
Yes.
combing that hair.
Exactly. So this is just like one of my main pieces, but I made 2 other figures for that senior thesis show.
Awesome. All right, let's see a few more of your pieces here.
Oh, this is just a detail
Oh, so this
shot.
is detail. Holy
Yeah.
crap! Holy, look at that. That is so intense.
Yes.
I love that you like braided the hair. That's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
She's
why the
styling.
combing was involved. I needed to comb it to braid it, which
Yeah.
is kind of funny. But one of my sculpture professors, Kitty Wales, taught me a little bit about this technique with the paper towels and the wire. And then if you use the right type of wire, you get this like beautiful rust that comes through.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
That hand is just like so delicate and beautiful.
Thank you.
I want to see this in real life. You'll have to
Sure.
bring it by the gallery sometime. All right, now jumping ahead. Now, what's this piece
Okay,
about?
this is like the biggest piece I've ever done. The Couch, the Curtain, and the Cat. And it evolved slowly. So I was working from a live model for the center figure. You can't tell from the picture, but the left figure is actually sewn and is stuffed. So it's like protruding from the canvas like an inch or 2.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of working with like these. Well, I guess my senior thesis, I was thinking a lot about like the woman in the home and like just what a home means and when one thing becomes another thing. So I was like thinking about this woman who like becomes a couch, but she becomes a curtain, and
I like that,
obviously,
the
yeah.
play on like domestic life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
interesting.
yeah,
I like that.
that's what my
What?
senior thesis was pretty much based around, and then I had to throw a cat in there.
Because obviously, everyone needs a cat.
Yes.
Now this looks more like work that I've seen from you just in our gallery. So do you feel like your work is moving in this direction?
Yeah,
Yeah?
this is kind of like, felt like a breakthrough piece for me because I finished it like 2 days before the senior thesis show went up.
Yeah.
And I was like working on it in the 808 gallery and like hoping no one minds about this oil paint. But I just felt like maybe it was because of the pressure of the last minute, but it just felt like more free and like
Yeah.
all these bolder marks.
I feel like that last minute projects too sometimes just can like bring you to this like
Yeah.
fiery place that you didn't know that
Exactly.
you had in you, and then you stand back and you're like, awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
I made this and it's great.
Yeah. So
That's beautiful.
and
I
yeah.
like how just seeing from your work how you've really incorporated, like when I think of the rabbit and like that textile, and then it's like here it is like 2D. You do such a great job like translating 2D to 3D.
Thank you so much.
And now, who is your model in this? Is this you, or is it somebody you've taken from somewhere else, or?
Well, I was like too shy to like annoy people to model for me,
Mhm.
so I would look up models from like the 20s, like circus models.
Zoom in on that.
Oh, yeah, so models, because if you search like models now, I mean, you're gonna get a whole array of that on the
Yeah.
internet. But if you're not privileged to have a model sit for you, I was really looking at the Ziegfeld Folly girls
Mm-hmm.
doing these classic
Totally.
poses. So kind of, I sort of loosely base them off of a person, but usually it evolves.
Yeah, I love that you can see these detailed shots, so like all of the texture that you put in, you can really see the work behind it.
Thank you.
And like we were talking about earlier, the play on with color, like that red is like totally popping with that blue. It looks so great.
Thanks. Yeah, whenever I do a ginger, people ask if it's me. But it's just such a great color
I
to
think
put
that
down.
you're just ginger representing. I don't think there's enough gingers in the world.
Exactly. So I made this piece recently. The stuffed figure laying down is from my senior show,
Mm-hmm.
but I made this one out of fabric textiles,
Cool.
the sewing textiles, the same process as I made Susanna.
Nice.
But I wanted to try and give this lady joints so I can position her however.
That's so interesting. So was that like that probably obviously brought in your sculptural
Yeah.
like intuition, making joints. So how did you make a joint with that?
Well, I just thought about like if I'm still working on the mannequin, you know, where does this person bend? So wherever she would have a joint, I would sort of make it a separate part. And then in the back there, I made that, it's made out of string, kind of like how you'd make a string lantern. I just piled all of these balloons together and like wrapped it for like 3 days to make this lantern shape. And I wasn't quite sure how I wanted it to come together, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great. So where was your senior thesis show? Was it at the 808 Gallery?
Yeah, it was.
That's such a cool space. It's
Yeah.
so big. If our viewers haven't heard of it, it's BU's gallery that's on Comav.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's used to be a car dealership, so
Yeah.
they have lots of floor space and have very interesting, fresh, contemporary shows. So it's good that you have your work.
I used to sit in that gallery. It's so peaceful.
It's so beautiful. Also, I love like the Art Deco feeling of like
Yeah.
the building too. It's cool.
yeah. This show is at the Armory in Somerville.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Very cool.
So this is a painting I just finished about a couple months ago.
Nice.
I look a lot at like fashion, like editorials and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I tried and sort of take the model's face away from where it began because I don't know, it just sort of
Yeah.
evolves. So yeah, I was just focusing on color and patterning with this one.
I like that a lot. So why don't we bounce back to us here? There we are. Hi, us. So I just wanted to ask you a few more questions
Yeah.
about your technique. And do you find, like you mentioned that you Google images of like models and things, but where else do you find your inspiration for your work?
Well, I'm pretty big on the Instagram.
Yeah, who isn't?
It's
Do you
kind
have Instagram? You should share it with our viewers.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll tell you that I gram so much, like my personal life, that I decided to make a separate gram for my art. So it's Mia X Art.
That's interesting that you said you did that. Just sorry to interrupt you,
no.
but do you feel like as an artist you have to have social media like as two platforms, like one for your personal life as you mentioned, and then like one is sort of for like your art brand? Do you feel like you have to do that?
Well, I was really conflicted about it for a long time because I follow a lot of artists, and you know, ideally your life is the art.
Right.
But for me, like, I'm working part-time, so other things come in. I'm not in my studio all the time. So I felt like my art images were kind of getting lost, and I think that people who are searching for that sort of wanted focused. So hopefully one day it all comes together.
Yeah.
But right
But that's
now...
good though. You're smart, like looking at your artwork like as a brand.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of where artists are heading. You know, artists in the millennial age look at themselves as like a brand as well as an artist that they have to promote themselves within.
Yeah.
Which is a struggle sometimes.
I'm learning a lot about that. But I follow a lot of artists on there who I kind of try and take after, and you see what they're doing, and it's a great way to learn and
That's
like
great.
network.
Well, yeah, I think we're just about out of time.
That went by so fast.
I know. I so appreciate you coming down here and sharing your artwork with us. And
much.
as we mentioned before, please